Hi, I'm Laurie Wright, also known as Not Your Average Grandma. I created this podcast as a place to go for midlife inspiration. If you are in a stage where you believe the best is behind you, it is my hope that one of these episodes will ignite a long suppressed or unrealized desire, and you will see the potential within yourself just waiting to be tapped, so you can do amazing things with the time you have left. I want you to stop seeing your age as a limitation and start seeing it as your superpower. You have years of experience and value that the younger you never had, so it's time to lean into that and use it to fuel your future. No more letting age hold you back from the pursuit of a more passion-filled life. The more passionate we are, the better the world will be. So stop settling for average, put your AirPods in, and let this episode inspire you to take the first step in transforming your mind, body, and soul. Welcome to another episode. Well, actually, welcome to the first episode of 2021. This is it. We are starting fresh. 2020 is over. Fini. Done. And I tell you, I normally just go to sleep before the new year. I'm just at that age where it's not important for me to stay up and watch the ball drop or drink that bottle of champagne. So I last night was laying in bed and I thought I need a visual when my digital watch number switches to 12:00. I just need to see that. So I I had this visual and then I was like, ah, it's kind of like this sigh of relief. That's one reason I love goal setting and planning because I do it every month. I actually do it every week, but every first day of the month is like this fresh, clean slate that you can just go forward with no matter how much you didn't get done the previous month. The new year, think of it, 365 days. So a brand new whole long number of days in which to accomplish our dreams in order to accomplish the things that we desire to bring into our life. So we have this huge opportunity in front of us. We just got through one of the worst years in most people's lives, definitely in the country's life, one of the worst that we can remember in our lifetime, having to deal with the pandemic. Now we have a vaccine. Now we have even though the pandemic is getting bad, more people are surviving. They have better remedies, and we are conquering it. Hallelujah, right? So we have a lot to look forward to this year. So I wanted to start off the new year first of all by saying congratulations for getting through 2020. If you're here listening to it, you made it. And then I wanted to talk about 2021, and I wanted to give you my 3 tips for what to do, like the biggest things that I think need to happen when it comes to goal setting. And if you don't goal set, you should, because you do more as a result of that process than you would if you don't. I don't like it when people flail through life. I say that. It's like, you've heard the thing, fail to plan, plan to fail. That's the saying. But it's like flail. It's like fail to plan, then you flail. You flail through life. And it's like the image that comes to mind is those pinball machines and just bouncing off the walls and then just rolling down into the hole with no plan of intention at all. And we don't want that. We don't. And especially if you're listening to this and you're at midlife and you want to accomplish more before before your carriage turns into a pumpkin. So you want to plan, you want to set goals, and it doesn't matter what they are. They just have to be yours. They can't be somebody else's. They have to be something that's very heart centered and that you want, that will light you up in life, because you only get one. So I'm going to go over these 3 things. And I also wanted to mention And I know that I do have a promo on this, but I wanted to mention it because it's tomorrow. So if you're listening to this as soon as it comes out, yes, you will have an opportunity to join. Is I'm doing a workshop called Midlife Mindset Mastery, and that is free. It's my gift to you because I want you to start 2021 with the right mindset. And I teach in it, and I guess this is the day of threes. It's my 3 tricks, really mindset hacks. And it's super simple and it's crazy effective. So I teach this. It's something that I have in my school that I normally charge to teach, but I just wanted to have people, especially I feel like you've earned it after the year that we've had. And so I just want to put you in the right frame of mind. And I want you to understand how you can rewire these thoughts that are holding you back, because we all have them. You are not the only one who has these thoughts that are holding you back. We all have them, no matter where we are in life. And so that is tomorrow, January 2nd. And you can sign up at notyouraverage-grandma.com/mindset. And if you miss tomorrow and you happen to be listening to this episode later than January 2nd, I'm doing another one on January 7th and another one on January 14th. I did one just like this in December and it was a resounding success. People loved it. I got so many emails, more than I've ever received from a workshop. So just wanted to put that out there because I think it's a really helpful workshop that is gonna, and especially from the feedback I've gotten, I know it will be useful to most of you who are open to learning new things. All right, so the 3 tips for that you need to think about when you're setting goals for 2021, and I'm going to just run down what they are and then I'll talk about each of them. The first one is looking back and letting go. Number 1. Number 2 is pick one and plan the thing. Pick one and plan the thing. And the third is drop the old and adopt new habits. So let's go over each of those. Looking back and letting go is something that I learned from one of my mentors. And the idea here is that we carry baggage with us, right? We tend to always be taking our past experiences and carrying those forward. And so our failures kind of come along with us like this heavy bag we're carrying. And this actually applies to a little bit of what I talk about in my workshop that's coming up. So, one of the good things to do is, and I do this actually every month too, is to look back and look back at the past year. And in the case of a month, if you do monthly planning, look back at the past month. But you just decide today that what you don't want to carry with you, whether it's one thing or multiple things, but take it and leave it behind. If it's not helping you, if it's dragging you down, if it's weighing you down, if it's your perceived failure, which really isn't a failure, it's really just a lesson. So you got to look at those things differently. But you might even want to have a ceremony. I know some people do this. When I was in the corporate world and I started a new company as a vice president, I inherited these people that had had some issues in the past and been mistreated in their jobs. And the company was trying to turn itself around and manage people better. And they had been mismanaged and like I said, treated like you never want to treat an employee. And so they actually had some kind of PTSD from it. A couple of people were seeing psychiatrists as a result of it. I mean, this was a bad situation. And so I took them offsite and we spent a day. And one of the things I had them do was write down all the things that they felt, like the feelings that were coming up from the past in the past year of that had been working there. And I said, and I want you write them all down on a sheet of paper. And then we burned the paper. We burned the paper. I had them create new words that, the words that somebody who was appreciated, somebody who loved their job, somebody who went to work every day with excitement. Write the words down of the person that you would feel like if you went to work every day and you loved what you did. And who what are the words that would describe somebody that you'd like to work with, that you'd like to work for, that you'd like to sit there side by side working on a common work project together. So they created all these words. And I actually had them go up and write it on a, marker board. And they were beautiful words. And so I took all these words and I put them on coffee mugs, and I had custom made coffee mugs for them all. So they would sit there at their desk and they would look at these coffee mugs and they would think, and it would put them in the right frame of mind and remind them that this is possible and this is what we're creating starting today. And we're going to burn all those bad feelings that we had, and we're going to move forward. And so you can do a ceremony. A ceremony is great. Write down all the things you want to let go and take it to wherever is a safe place. Concrete, definitely, not wood. Do not burn it on your wood deck, but safely burn it in your. Maybe you've got a grill. Yes, maybe you have a charcoal grill. Light it up in there and burn it with your steak. You want to let go. You want to think of the things that, whether it's feelings that are negative that you want to leave behind because you don't want those feelings anymore, or whether it's, tasks you're doing that you shouldn't be doing, people that you are associated with that are bringing you down, that are negative Nellies, anything that you want to leave behind, just leave it behind. So I'll give you an example because I'm in a group and somebody asked that question. What are you going to leave behind? Pick one thing you're going to leave behind. And I thought about it for a minute and I saw other people's what they were saying, and fear, somebody said, perfection, somebody else said. There were lots of good examples that people shared. So I was just trying to, like, I think we all have fear. Many of us have the tendency to want to be perfect. So I was thinking, yeah, I could write those down too. But if I had to pick one thing, what is unique to me that I know I need to work on that will help me if I let go of it, if I stop it, leave it behind in 2020? And the thing that came up first when I was trying to think of my one thing was I need to stop running my damn meetings. I am from a project management background. And so that's what I do. That's what I've always done is I've managed people and I hold meetings. I have the agenda. I'm the agenda generator, and I'm the one who follows up with all the action items. I'm the one who facilitates the meeting. But now that I have my own company, I'm really in charge of the vision and the ideation and the creativity, and trying to run a meeting and keep track of all the myriad action items and tasks is not something that helps my company move forward. It's something that I should and must trust somebody else to do, and I need to pass the baton to them. And so I just need to put a stake in the ground going forward, starting today, that this is not my job anymore. This is somebody else's job who really wants it. Somebody who would like that job, not somebody who wouldn't like it, because then they'll be here next year wanting to let go of it. I want somebody who's good at it, loves it, and that job lights them up. And so that is what I've chosen to let go. All right. So, number two, pick one thing and plan the thing. So, this is something that I learned actually from, I think, Chalene Johnson. She did this thing called Push a few years back. And I loved the concept because, we sometimes we overload ourselves with a bunch of different goals, and they're all different. It's like, oh, I want to lose weight, and oh, I want to start a podcast, and oh, I want to start a brand new business, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And it's like a lot of things. And it's like when you fill up your plate, something's got to give, right? And at the time, she was using as the example as she wanted to write a book. She wanted to be the author of a New York Times bestselling book. And so the example she used was, okay, that's really far out there, right? And it's not something that I can do in 30 days or 60 days. So, what will help me get there? What's the one thing that I can do now, or two or three things that I can do in the next 90 days that will get me closer to that longer term goal? So I would say pick one thing, and it's got to be something that lights you up. It's got to be something that is so important to you that you want to make it. It's going to get you up in the morning. It's going to be your number one priority. The last thing you think about before you go to bed at night is this goal, is reaching this goal. Being the author of a book is a great example. Maybe it's just starting a podcast. I know you can do that in a short amount of time because I have a student who's done it in 8 weeks. She conceived it and got it out there and published her first episode. So I know it can be done in a shorter amount of time, but if that might be too big for you to even conceive of doing quickly. So just take one step, like sign up for a course that teaches you how to do a podcast. So that could be an example. Finding a purpose, a deeper purpose that is inside of you, that you don't feel like you have a purpose. Maybe you thought your kids were your purpose. And so now here you are. This is something I teach in my school. So maybe it's that. And that seems like a really big thing, right? It could be out there a year. It could take a while to find that, right? But you can do things starting today to get you closer to that goal. And it might come far quicker, and it will, I guarantee you. If you start to do things today to take you to that bigger goal. So pick that one thing that's kind of a big thing, or at least you think it's big, and then forget the how for now. So you don't need to worry about how you're going to do it. That's a lot of times I get that is, but I don't know how. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the way your brain works is if you are so invested in this one thing and that's what you think about and it's what you dream about and it's what you vision in your head, then the universe will help you figure it out. It will come to you. Just like not having a clue about what her podcast was going to be, that she even was going to do a podcast. And hey, look what happened. It came to her. She thinks it was her mother, her mother who has passed, and that she came to her and when she dreamt. And your dreams can lead you. Just ask before you go to bed at night. Help me with this thing. Help me find a way to get to this big thing. And it will work. It really will work. And then number 3, drop the old habits and adopt new habits. And we all have bad habits that are just kind of like second nature to us. And we don't know where they came from or why we have them, but they're just kind of part of our automatic doing process. One of the things that you should do at this time of year is think about what things, habits will help you. Things will help you get to that one thing. And what excites you, because what if you want to learn something like a new right now I'm really into breath work. I did a session with a friend who just got certified, and now I'm sharing it with my students because she's trying to get practicum hours, and I'm going to bring her on the podcast, so she's going to talk about it. But I'm really fascinated with it because the session I had is so cool. So if it's coming up for you as something that perks your interest, then try it. And I consider breath work like it's a self-care habit. It's a great habit. So I'm going to tell you my bad habit that I dropped is biting my fingernails. And I feel really bad that I bite my fingernails. I never ever used to. Well, maybe when I was a kid I bit my fingernails. I actually sucked my thumb till I was 9. So there's a little factoid. But yeah, I was a thumb sucker, and it screwed my mouth up big time and made me have buck teeth, and I had to have braces, and I swallowed wrong because my tongue was in the wrong place. It was bad. My thumb would just go in my mouth at night. It was just like natural. It was a subconscious thing. And I went to my mom and I said, I don't want to suck my thumb anymore. And we went and got this stuff that like burned the roof of my mouth off. And so when my thumb would go in my mouth at night, it would be like I just ate the hottest hot pepper ever. And that quickly fixed it. But it was me going to my mother and saying, I don't want to do this anymore. You have to be the one who wants to drop the habit. Nobody can make you drop the habit. So there's all kinds of habits that would probably be best to drop. I don't know when I started biting my fingernails, but it was sometime last year. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a nervous person. I think it's just like what my husband likes to watch series or movies. He likes to get these things on Netflix, and this is like our bonding time. So in the evening, I sit there sometimes and I'm just like, boredom. What do? You just start to bite your fingernails. And that's what I had, these little nubs, and I was like done with my little nubs. So I decided yesterday, I'm done with biting my nails. It's a horrible habit. Plus, like, you think COVID, you put your fingers in your mouth. That's not a good thing. You pick up germs so easily. I wore gloves at first to the grocery store. I was one of those people. And then I'm just like, just got to wash my hands more. And my honestly, my fingernails were so low, I don't think any germs could have gotten behind them. So anyways, it just was not a good look. So I went yesterday and had my nails done. I actually got up early, and I never wake up to the alarm anymore, but I set my alarm and was in the manicure chair at 8 a.m. And it was 2020 still, but I was leaving it behind, and I was going to enter 2021 with beautiful new nails, and they are gorgeous. My idea here is, because I'm not a big nail person. I don't like long nails. In fact, I didn't want them real long. Um, but I didn't want the nubs. So I said, we'll do them now. And I'm hoping that they'll grow enough that then I can have these removed and just have regular nails. But my nails look beautiful, and I did not bite my nails last night. I did not bite my fingers, my nails. I was like a good girl last night watching our new mini series called Queen's Gambit, which I highly recommend. It's really, really good. All right, back to dropping the old and adopting new. So here's a couple of new habits that I think, and a lot of the habits that I like to adopt are more around self care and mindset. One thing that I have been doing for, gosh, probably close to 2 years now, I created my own system, and it's a mindset nighttime activity. I ask 3 questions every night before I go to bed. The first question is what I learned today, because it reinforces the fact that we should always continue to be learning. And if we aren't learning, we're just stagnant. We're not growing. And so I always want to test myself and make sure that I learned something every day. I learned yesterday how to attach new lights. It's this strip of lights. It's so cool. And it wasn't very expensive. It was like $12 on Amazon. It's a strip. It's like this sticky tape, but it's lights. It's got a remote control, and they can be red, green, yellow, blue, all these different colors. You can make them flash, or you can make them stay lit one color. And one thing I'm learning is how to be a video person, because I wanted the light emanating from the back and shooting up onto the wall. And because a plain white walls, not very good when you're doing a video. And what I've learned, so this is what I've learned. So I like to ask that question, what I learned every day. It could be something that I've read from a book. It could be something I learned from a friend. It could be something that I learned from listening to a podcast. It could be something I learned from my husband. You can learn from anybody. Everybody is a teacher. What I could have done better is question number 2, because I feel like there's room for improvement every day. There's room, like, what could I have done better? I could have eaten better, maybe. I could have exercised. I could have not been grumpy when my husband got home from being at the 19th hole. I could have not procrastinated on an important task There's all kinds of things that we could do better. And it's just a reminder of, next time you have this awareness of that. And then the third question is what I rocked at, because I always like to leave my brain with the most positive thing before I close my eyes. So, what I rocked at, and there's something every single day you rocked at. That is an excellent question. So, maybe this evening mindset activity, just to get your brain in this really positive place before you go to bed. So pick something you want to drop, pick something new you want to add. There's one other thing that I'm going to adopt. Yeah, I mean, the three questions I already asked, so I don't need to adopt that. But I did mention that I want to start doing breath work, but the silence exercise that I recently did, I experienced this. I want to share it. I want to do this for my students, but it was just so profound for me and effective for me that I want to incorporate it at least weekly in the new year. So it's a silence exercise. And what you do is you go through this guided meditation for 5 minutes. The guidance is just to keep your mind completely free of thought. You get in this place of just feeling your body, feeling your breath, feeling the present, being in the present moment with no thoughts going on swirling in your head. So you do that for 5 minutes, and then you stop, and then for 5 minutes you write. You do not stop writing. You do not even necessarily know what you're going to write. You just start writing. It's like this free flow consciousness from your brain to your fingers, to your pen or your pencil, to the paper. And this becomes super effective if you do it repeatedly. Like the more you do the silence exercise, the more uh the more enlightenment. I want to call it enlightenment, because what comes out of that lead or that ink is pretty friggin' amazing. You over time, as you get used to doing this, and you're basically tapping in to this inner conscience, really your soul. You're tapping into those soul's desires, and some major cool stuff is going to come up by doing this. So maybe you want to try a silence exercise. Again, it's just like 5 minutes of silence. And if you don't need a guide, you just do it yourself. Just remember, be super, super present, just sitting there with feeling, being in the moment, and silence the monkey mind. And then you set a timer and do that for 5 minutes, and then set a timer for 5 more minutes and just write. And you can't stop. You can't take a break. You can't pause to think. You just have to keep writing, pen to paper. You can start with just gibberish. You can start with just doodling. Thoughts will come and it will start to flow. And it's super cool. So that's another example of a new habit you might want to try. And if you're not sure, just ask around, ask people what habits do they employ that they think are game changers, like that they think maybe it's a new habit they started last year. But ask around and do some research. Just Google it. Great new habits. If it's your mind, if it's your body, if it's health, whatever category you want to focus on, then just Google what habits. People are always writing stuff that is really helpful, and you can find it out there on the interwebs. So I hope this has been a great first episode for you for the new year, and getting your mind around goal setting and focusing on having a fabulous 2021. Don't flail around in 2021. We were sitting quarantined for far too long. We've been chomping at the bit to get going. And so 2021 is it. And it's now. Thanks for joining me. And I hope I see you in one of my workshops that are coming up this month. Thank you so much for tuning into the Not Your Average Lives podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you have an Apple device. You can find free resources and learn what else I have going on at the moment that might interest you on my website at notyouraverage.grandma.com. You can also find me on Instagram or Facebook at Not Your Average Grandma. If you liked this episode, it would make my heart so happy if you could leave me a 5-star rating. You can also add a review to let me know what you like about this podcast, which will help spread the word about it to others who need a little midlife inspiration. As always, be you, listen to your inner voice, and focus on reigniting that lost spark so you can start living your own, not your average life.